Are we doing on topic first?
Come on. Let's not walk forward, guys. Come on. This is not.
Take your time. We got time. We got time. Just relax.
You guys are gonna let me put my camera up, right?
Let's let this guy get his camera up, okay? We've got a few
I don't get
minutes.
excited.
We've got a few minutes, guys.
We're not in a rush, guys.
Yep.
You're okay. We got time. We got time.
How are you?
Okay. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah.
You guys all right? Everybody okay?
Can we get your reaction to the House investigation and the reports that the Cuomo administration knew about the PFOA?
Do their own review. I've asked the chairman of my committee, the Environmental and Public Works Committee, to hold a hearing as well. And what I want our hearing to be about is, what do we know about the health effects of PFOA? How do we solve the problem and the questions that families ask today that we literally don't have answers to? What does it mean if your child's level is 100? What does it mean if it's 200? So that's what I want our hearing to be about. I don't know what the House will choose to have their hearings about, but what we need is clarity, we need information, and we need transparency, and that's what we haven't had here.
Are you concerned about reports that the Cuomo administration might have delayed telling the people here about the dangers?
I'm concerned for all the families in these 3 communities that are suffering right now. I am very concerned that they don't have confidence that the water at their schools are safe. They don't have confidence that that this is a problem that they're going to be able to solve, and they don't know what elevated levels mean for them.
And did the Cuomo administration have anything to do with that, in your opinion?
I don't know. All I know is that when we were informed of this problem, we reached out to the EPA, and we've called on the federal government to do a number of things that are important. We need to designate this area as a Superfund site so that they can hold the manufacturers accountable. We need to make sure that this is designated as a hazardous chemical. It should be a banned chemical. So I'm asking under the new law, the new TSCA law, to make sure that it can be reviewed so we can designate it as such. And then I'm asking CDC to do the research, because the reality is when that mom asks, what do these test results mean? How do I get rid of these high levels in my children's blood? What's going to happen to them? Are they going to be able to have children? We don't know the answers to any of those questions.
Senator, as the mother of young children, how difficult is it for you to sit there and listen to the stories of the children and their mothers and their fathers and their teachers about what they've gone through in this community?
It's devastating. I mean, as a mom, it's heartbreaking. You can't imagine how powerless, certainly I would feel if this happened in my house, and not knowing how to keep my kids safe, not knowing if I did something wrong. I mean, that last mom talked about how she feels so guilty because she couldn't protect her children. Well, that's just wrong. It's wrong of the government not to be able to protect our families. No place in America, no place in this state should a family have to worry about the drinking water that comes out of their faucet. And so we just have to do more, and we have to do better. And that's what these community meetings are about. That's what this roundtable is about. I did learn something here that I didn't know that I think is really important. We need medical monitoring, and we need real medical monitoring. So not only can we look for health effects over the lifetimes of these community members, but develop expertise to potential causes, to potential links, and then appropriate treatments. And then we need to have doctors locally that can specialize. And I know this from working on the 9/11 health bill. It wasn't until we had doctors who specialized were we able to say this cancer was caused by those toxins released on 9/11 and at the pile for the weeks and months thereafter. We didn't know those things. Now we do. So we need for this community the same high-level medical monitoring that we have for the 9/11 responders, and I think that should be the #1 ask when negotiating with these companies for how they're going to decide what they should be doing for this community to make them whole.
Now, Senator, a lot of
Two
people,
more questions.
A lot of people, left. They were expecting to hear a lot more from you and less from panelists, expecting to, hear a lot more questions from the audience. And I think, frankly, some of those people were disappointed in how everything was set up today.
Well, the purpose of today's roundtable was for me to listen. I don't have the answers. And so I wanted to hear directly from community members about their experience, about their concerns, and about the questions that I have to go back to Washington and get answered. And as I said, I really did learn from these community members' stories. And I learned directly what their concerns were. You heard their concerns are, what do I do if I have a family member who's already sick? What do I do with high blood levels among my family members, my children? What do I do to make sure they're safe going forward? How am I assured that my water's clean and appropriate to give them and to bathe in? Those are the questions I need to answer, and I needed to hear those questions directly from
Senator,
residents.
there's certainly communities around the state that have this pollution. This is not the only one.
This is not the,
What
and it
else
is
do you
not
think
the
the
only.
state could be doing here? I know you're
Well,
concerned again with the federal.
it's huge.
but-
I mean, we have, well, first of all, the Hudson River is the largest Superfund site in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a new problem. We had the concerns with PCBs. We've had the concern with TCEs. Now we have PFOAs. I mean, these are chemicals that have very harsh and horrible health impacts to families, to children, to people. And what we have to do is have better laws that protect families and make the polluters pay. And I don't think anyone ever handles these issues as well as we could. It's always clear in hindsight. But what my job is, and one of the reasons why we just passed this TSCA bill, is there's hundreds of thousands of chemicals that we haven't tested, that we don't even know are carcinogens. And so now at least we have a protocol to say, let's get these chemicals tested. And so I'm asking specifically to have PFOA be one of the first chemicals tested under the new TSCA law to say, is it safe or not? Because we need answers. We don't have answers. And so what I can do is work with the state to make sure anytime there's a chemical that is found in drinking water or people have concerns about, to do the work to find out what are the health effects, how do we treat it, how do we make it better, how do we make our filtration systems. As you heard from residents, a lot of our requirements only kick in if your water system feeds 10,000 people. Well, what about the smaller communities that maybe only feed 5,000 people? That's a problem. So I think this listening session, back to your question, it's really important because you find out what the problems are and what is the thing you have to solve. And so I think all people in public life should do more listening than
I think
talking.
the residents want to hear from the CDC directly. You know, we heard today people are frightened, they don't
Yeah.
know what their health is.
Well, that's why we had the CDC here,
Will
and
they be back, though? They didn't really answer the questions today.
yes, no, they did answer the question. They
But
were.
people were only allowed to speak if they were pre-screened.
No, we asked people to write down their question on a piece of paper, and we're going to take back all the questions that were asked so we can continue to answer those questions.
Okay.
And that's why on every seat we put on a form if you want to call your senator, talk to her about this. We also gave them documents and data from each of the federal agencies that are relevant, the CDC, the NIH, and the EPA, and each one had contact information.
But you don't see a need
Okay.
for the NIH
gotta
and the
go.
CDC to come to town and just have a long meeting and let people get any questions they
What
have
the
answered?
CDC and NIH have to do is the research. That's what they have to do. They now have heard, because I facilitated this listening session, how serious this problem is and how scared people are. And as the gentleman from the CDC said, our mission is health and well-being of people in our population. He now hears how high the anxiety here is, how fearful families are, and he knows he has his work cut out for him. My job is to get him more resources, so whatever it costs to do the studies that haven't been done can actually be done. And so that's what I have to get moving on.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you for covering it. Thank you for being here for the families.
Excuse us. Excuse us.
As we've got from the state.
God bless you.
Thank you so much
We will
for
work
sharing.
really hard, and we will work really hard to get these doctors to specialize, to get the medical monitoring, and to get the CDC to do the research so we know, because we don't know enough.
But this is why we started this.
Thank you. It worked. It worked.
We
got my
pushed, we
attention.
worked to the
We
bone.
filmed all
It
this.
got my attention,
Thank you.
and it will continue to spur me to act and to
So
fight
appreciate it.
very
We need
hard.
the help.
I will help you every step of the way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's the responses we got from Leo.
Right.
Our point person in the governor's office, who I now call a dud. A dud. He's never answered.
Well, I'll see what I can do. Thank you.
That would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless
for
you.
coming.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And then
Hey, Chip, how are you?
Todd and Heather Wysocki.
A photo with the students.
Can we get a picture with Claire and everybody in?
Thank you for letting my daughter be such a
Very
I'm sorry.
It's really inspiring. All together? Watch out for the stage.
Can we get, can we get everybody,
Just come over here.
parents in?
Don't fall off the stage.
Oh,
You're so
yeah,
close.
no,
Come
no.
this way, please.
Heather, yeah, this is real, yeah, let's keep the women
I can
together.
take a
This is
picture
what we
if you
want. Great, if we could get some pictures here.
Don't worry.
All right, and 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3.
To the brave ladies. To the brave ladies. You guys were great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really good. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you. And thanks for being such a great